What if you could approach, well, every big decision in business, in life really, with the kind of foresight a chess grandmaster has? Seeing not just the next step, but like 5 moves down the line.
Yeah, imagine that. The kind of clarity, the confidence that would
Well,
give you.
and that's pretty much the core idea behind our deep dive today. We're getting into Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David.
And this isn't just, another business book.
Yeah.
It really feels more like a strategic playbook.
Yeah.
For anyone who wants to, well, not just compete, but really conquer their market
Okay.
and kind of master their own path.
And what I find really compelling is Bet-David's own story. I mean, fleeing war in Iran as a kid, a refugee camp, coming to the U.S. with hardly any English,
Right.
and turning all that adversity into this incredible drive. He becomes this super successful entrepreneur, builds valuetainment. It really shows how tough times can fuel ambition, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a powerful backdrop to his philosophy. And the core idea, like you said, is adopting that Grandmaster mindset.
Right.
It's not about knowing actual chess moves, obviously. It's about cultivating this visionary way of thinking, anticipating outcomes, preparing meticulously, and staying cool under pressure.
And the 5 moves part. Why 5?
Well, Bet-David argues that 5 is sort of the sweet spot. It's enough foresight to plan effectively, to really anticipate, but it's not so far ahead that you get bogged down in what he calls paralysis by analysis.
Ah, okay. Where you just overthink everything into oblivion.
Exactly. So our mission today for you listening is to pull out the most powerful, actionable bits from this framework. We'll break down these 5 moves, show you how you can actually apply this thinking to your career, your business, your personal growth, wherever you are right now.
Okay, let's dive in. Move 1. Master knowing yourself. This sounds a bit philosophical, but he positions it as the absolute bedrock of strategy.
Totally. He argues you can't possibly think 5 moves ahead if you don't deeply understand what makes you tick. It's the starting point.
It kicks off with that big question, doesn't it? Who do you want to be?
Yeah, and it's not a quick answer. He frames it, much like Ray Dalio does, as a process. Continuous reflection, really digging into your desires, what fulfills you, the impact you want to make. You're basically building your future self, starting right now.
And he connects self-knowledge to, interestingly, harnessing pain. He talks about his own experience at Bally Total Fitness.
Oh yeah, the promotion story.
Right. He outperformed a veteran employee, clearly, but got passed over. And that sting, that feeling of his destiny being in someone else's hands, that was it. That pushed him out the door and into entrepreneurship.
It's amazing how often that happens. You hear these stories. Elon Musk's dad supposedly saying he'd never amount to anything.
Or Barbara Corcoran's ex telling her she'd fail without him.
Right. Or Michael Jordan getting cut from the varsity team. These moments, they weren't just bumps in the road. They became this incredibly potent fuel, that feeling of being underestimated.
It's almost like a superpower if you channel it, right? That David even kept a list, didn't he, of negative affirmations?
Yeah, things people said to him. His guidance counselor, Dottie, feeling sorry for him. Some stranger's comment about his dad's health care. He says those memories lit a fire that, money or external stuff just couldn't match.
So how do you tap into that? He has this tool, the personal identity audit.
He does. It's a set of, I think, 83 questions designed to make you dig really deep. Your fears, your proudest moments, what makes you feel alive. It's intense. He actually credits doing this himself with a huge shift from feeling angry and lost to feeling free and in control.
And then he breaks down our motivations, the why behind what we do, into 4 levels.
Right. The first is just survival. Basic needs, paying bills. Pretty straightforward.
Then status, wanting that external validation, the fancy car, the 7 figures, the impressive title.
Level 3 is success. Going beyond just status, achieving significant goals, building something substantial.
But the top level, the one he really pushes for, is purpose.
Exactly. This is the deepest why. How do you want to be remembered? What impact do you want to leave? How far can you push your own limits? Getting clear on that, he says, makes you unstoppable.
But even with all this self-knowledge, you can still miss things, have blind spots.
Oh, absolutely. Even grandmasters do. He shares his own blunder early on, pitching his huge goal, 500,000 agents, to big insurance carriers just weeks into his business.
What went wrong?
He was totally blind to their mindset. It was right after the 2008 crash. They were risk-averse, conservative. They weren't looking for some startup's big, hairy, audacious goal. His vision was there, but he didn't understand his audience at all.
That's a tough lesson, which leads to this idea of finding your blue ocean.
Yeah, leveraging what might seem like disadvantages.
Sure.
As an immigrant, an outsider, he saw opportunities others missed. neglected markets like women and minorities, social media, which the older guard wasn't really using effectively.
Well, they were stuck cold calling, hitting the do not call list.
Exactly. He streamlined training too, focused on one license instead of many, which was easier for new agents and less hassle for him. He found uncontested space by being different.
And he's clear, it's not just about being an entrepreneur, right?
Definitely not. He talks about entrepreneurship, like Steve Jobs returning to Apple and turning it around from the inside, or Google's 20% time leading to Gmail. You can innovate and lead within a company, too, using the same strategic thinking.
So, move one, master knowing yourself. It's not just navel gazing, it's about getting that strategic clarity, your North Star for everything else.
Precisely. And once you have that deeper self-understanding, well, that leads naturally into how you process the world and make decisions. Which brings us neatly to move two. Master the ability to reason.
Okay, so reasoning. This is about tackling difficult choices, problems, opportunities effectively.
Right. Playing out the strategies in your head, seeing the hidden consequences, just like a chess player thinks several moves ahead.
And the foundation for this, he argues, is taking responsibility.
Absolutely. Great processors ask I questions. How did I contribute? What could I have done differently? It's the opposite of the victim mentality, which just blames everything externally.
Like that Joe Rogan story about the coffee.
Yeah. Instead of blaming the barista, he went and learned about coffee making himself. It's about owning your part so you can own the solution.
It highlights that difference between deep and surface level thinking.
Exactly. Amateurs look for quick fixes. Grandmasters look for root causes. They plan sequences of moves to solve the problem permanently, fix the system, not just patch the symptom.
He offers a tool for this too, right? Investment time return, or ITR?
Yeah, it's a way to bring analysis into decisions that might otherwise be purely emotional, factoring in time and money.
He gives that example. Investing $200 to save a certain percentage of policies.
Right, saving 4% of 30,000 policies at $200 each. The math showed a $240,000 return, so seems like a good investment. But he stresses you always have to consider the worst-case scenario, the break-even point, too. Don't just look at the upside.
And there's that other fascinating IT investment example, $1 million to save 5 minutes per policy.
Yes. Initially, the payback looked terrible, like 20 years. A
Yeah.
clear no.
But then,
But then they factored in the company's projected growth rate. Suddenly, that 20-year payback dropped to under 5 years. It completely flipped the decision from a no-go to a go.
wow. So the lesson is, are you factoring in all the variables, including future potential, not just the current snapshot?
Exactly. It's both art and science. Analysis needs context.
And the final piece of this move is solving for X, finding the real root cause.
Like his colleague Charlie, who thought he was burned out on the business itself.
But it wasn't the business.
No. After digging deeper, Charlie realized the real issue was his health, his weight gain. That was draining his energy and disconnecting him from his original why. He wasn't sick of the business. He was sick of feeling sick.
So move two is about getting past the surface, understanding the real mechanics of a problem, and addressing that strategically.
You got it. And that clarity, that ability to reason effectively, leads right into building the engine for execution, which is move three, master building the right team.
Okay, the team. He starts by busting the myth of the lone wolf, right?
Yeah, pretty emphatically. No matter how smart or talented you are, he says, a solo player will eventually lose to a well-constructed team. It's just not sustainable long-term.
And he says you recruit people to you first, before the company. What does that mean?
It means it's not just about salary and benefits. What unique value do you bring to them? Mentorship, connections, tough love when needed, a track record of helping people win. He asks, if people get closer to you, will their life improve? That's your personal benefits program.
Interesting. And a key role on this team is the conciliere, the trusted advisor.
Yes, someone who won't just agree with you, someone who challenges you, points out your blind spots. Like Patty McCord telling Reed Hastings at Netflix to stop being just an engineer and start being a leader.
That takes guts.
It does. But David even talks about sometimes putting two people with totally opposite views in a room to debate something, just to ensure he gets that balanced, challenging counsel. He creates constructive friction.
And when actually hiring, he warns, keep Donnie Brasco out.
Yeah, referencing the FBI agent who infiltrated the mob. It's a stark reminder. Do your homework. Thorough due diligence is non-negotiable. Check references deeply. Look for skill gaps, background flags, unexplained resume gaps. Always use a probationary period. Don't just trust your gut.
Makes sense. And once you have good people, how do you keep them? He talks about golden handcuffs.
Right. Things like equity, real incentivization, giving people a path to earn ownership changes their mindset. They start thinking like owners, not just employees. It boosts motivation, loyalty, retention. He started an equity plan himself just 2 years in.
It's also about managing performance
Yeah.
and sometimes letting people go.
Crucial. Clear expectations, consistent feedback, and if firing is necessary, do it with empathy and respect. He tells a really powerful story about firing his absolute top salesperson. Unethical behavior. It cost the company millions in the short term, but he did it to send a crystal clear message about the company's principles. That culture was more important than the immediate revenue. That decision resonated.
Wow. That speaks volumes about building a principles-based culture. It's not just posters on the wall.
Not at all. It's lived actions. Like his mandatory company book club reading, Winners Never Cheat, or adopting Ray Dalio's radical transparency, encouraging open, honest feedback, even when it's uncomfortable. Like
Okay.
it was initially for his COO. You have to create safety for truth.
He even embraces friction, doesn't he? And this idea of talking behind people's backs, but positively.
Yeah, healthy conflict is vital. Like Joe Rogan being brutally honest with Brendan Schaub about his fighting career, which actually helped Schaub pivot successfully. But the positive gossip idea is brilliant praising people when they aren't there. It builds their reputation, motivates them to live up to it.
And all this builds trust. Trust equals speed, he says.
Fundamentally, building trust through reliability, consistency, and crucially, understanding people's love languages. To borrow from Gary Chapman.
Ah, okay. Treat people how they want to be treated, not how you want to be treated.
Exactly. Understanding what motivates each individual, recognition, quality time, acts of service, whatever it is. He even has his own 9 love languages of entrepreneurs, like Steve Kerr telling Andre Iguodala, "We need you," to get him to accept a bench role. Tailoring the message. When trust is high, things move much faster.
So building the right team is about creating this dynamic, trusting ecosystem.
Got it. Okay, so let's move to move 4, master strategy to scale.
Right. This is where the CEO role really comes into focus. Bet David is open about his own struggle here, transitioning from being a great salesperson to needing to learn vision, strategy, logistics, the whole CEO package.
He didn't just wing it, though.
No, he actively sought help, joined Vistage, went to Harvard programs. He knew scaling required a different skill set and went out to get it.
A big part of scaling is often money, capitalization, for sure. He lays out 10 critical questions you absolutely need answers to before you even think about seeking investment. Things like, how much control are you willing to give up? Who holds you accountable? Is your market research solid? What's your valuation? What's the exit strategy? He uses examples like Jack Ma and Jeff Bezos, who nailed this by having that clear, massive vision.
Then he introduces the strategy quadrant. How does that work?
It's a visual tool. It maps activities onto 4 areas. Operations and sales business development, they give you linear growth, steady progress.
Yeah.
But the real exponential growth comes from the other 2 quadrants, innovative campaigns and leadership development.
Like Amazon Prime, you mentioned.
Exactly. Or Hyundai's game-changing warranty. These weren't just tweaks. They were strategic leaps that changed the whole trajectory. That's where you find exponential moves.
And speed is a huge factor in scaling.
Massive. He uses the Ferrari analogy, how tech keeps making things faster. Apply that thinking to your business functions. And he loves the Toyota way.
The 59-second problem solving.
Yeah. Toyota dominated by obsessing over compressing time, fixing assembly line issues almost instantly. It showed speed isn't just inherent, it can be taught, systematized, improved.
He breaks down 4 types of speed to accelerate.
Right. Functioning speed, how fast your team works together. Processing speed, how fast you deliver, like Amazon's one click. Expansion speed, how quickly you enter new markets. And learning speed, how fast you adapt and acquire new knowledge. Improving all 4 creates a major advantage.
And strategic planning means thinking ahead, like Gretzky skating to where the puck will be.
Precisely. Don't just plan for today's needs. He tells that story about his colleague Romeo, who leased this enormous office based on current numbers.
Oh, right, and then couldn't fill it.
Exactly. The overhead crushed him. You need to anticipate growth. Plan the infrastructure before you desperately need it.
That ties into Bezos's regret minimization framework.
Yeah, projecting yourself forward. What will your 80-year-old self regret not doing? It's a powerful lens for big decisions. He contrasts someone like Warren Buffett, whose discipline built long-term wealth, with cautionary tales like Morton Downey Jr., who self-destructed, or Larry, whose ethical shortcuts led to failure. Short-term gains versus long-term consequences.
And finally, the 5 deadly sins to avoid when scaling.
Crucial pitfalls: being too cheap or splurging foolishly, letting wrong people have too much influence, getting entitled, that royalty mentality, refusing to adapt when things change, and constantly, obsessively comparing yourself to others instead of running your own race. Avoid those like the plague.
Okay, that covers scaling strategy, which brings us to the final move, move 5. Master power plays. This sounds intense.
It is, but it's about strategic influence and resilience. First up, beating Goliath and controlling your narrative.
Goliath isn't always the big incumbent company, right?
No, it could be a rival salesperson, a competitor your size, even an internal policy holding you back. The key insight is Goliath is often comfortable, maybe complacent. That's your opening. Know their weaknesses, know yours, move fast, use media smartly. He gives 12 specific tactics.
And controlling the narrative, if you don't tell your story, someone else will.
Pretty much. Be authentic. Be vulnerable sometimes. Be consistent, especially on social media. And embrace shameless self-promotion, but the smart kind.
Like Phil Knight or The Rock.
Exactly. They promote constantly, but rarely sound like they're bragging. One technique is book dropping, casually mentioning relevant books or ideas to subtly show your knowledge.
He did this himself, changing his YouTube channel name.
Right, from 2 Minutes with Pat to Valuetainment. That wasn't just branding. It was his strategic power play, aligning his platform with a much bigger vision of educating entrepreneurs, thinking long-term about his influence.
Another power play, turning off the noise and cutting the fat.
This is about focus, ruthlessly eliminating distractions and negative influences. Negative self-talk, toxic relationships, time-wasting entertainment, bad habits, vices, whatever holds you back.
He gives that really extreme example of personal sacrifice.
Yeah, abstaining from sex for 17 months while laser-focused on hitting his first million. It's intense, maybe not for everyone, but it illustrates the power of disciplined sacrifice to achieve a massive goal, removing anything that dilutes your focus.
And the core lesson here seems to be that power comes from having options.
Absolutely critical. He tells that heartbreaking story of Bobby, whose business was destroyed because one single customer represented most of his revenue.
5 million out of 8 million.
Right, so when that customer demanded concessions, Bobby had no leverage, no options. He was backed into a corner and eventually had to sell to them. Checkmate. Never let yourself be that dependent. Always cultivate options.
Which ties into the what can I do for you mindset.
It does. Shift from always thinking what's in it for me to genuinely offering value first. His story about Eli is amazing.
The guy whose son was in prison.
Yeah. Bet David offered to drive 4 hours to visit the son. No immediate gain, just a genuine act of service for Eli. Later, Eli sent him 600 client referrals. That long-term relationship-first approach builds incredible power and loyalty.
So the formula for power isn't magic, it's discipline. Outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, outlast.
That's it. Consistent effort across the board. It's a marathon.
And shadow who you want to be. Get close to successful people.
Physically, if possible. Observe. Learn. Buffett working for Ben Graham for free. Bet David shadowing the top seller at Bally's. Steve Kerr being an assistant under Popovich, even after winning championships himself. Find ways to offer value, maybe help with their social media, just to get in the room and absorb.
And the final point. Leaders don't fix people.
No. Your job is to understand what drives them, their unique motivations, and then position them where they can succeed. Sometimes that means changing your perspective on their role, not changing them. Help them win based on who they are.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot. From knowing yourself as the foundation, all the way through reasoning, team building, scaling strategy, and finally mastering those power plays.
It's a comprehensive framework. This deep dive into Bet David's thinking really shows that success, especially sustained success, isn't luck. It's about foresight, it's about relentless improvement, and it's deeply about people.
And let's be real, the path he describes entrepreneurship, any big ambition really, it's tough. There's chaos, setbacks, difficult choices constantly.
No doubt. But the key takeaway from all these examples, I think, is that those struggles aren't just roadblocks.
Yeah.
They're actually the opportunities. They forge resilience. They teach crucial lessons. They're part of the process, part of the game.
So as we wrap up, maybe a final thought for you to consider. Think about someone like Andrew Bynum, the NBA player. Immense talent, won championships.
Yeah, but his career fizzled out early. People said he just didn't have that deep love for the game. The drive wasn't quite there despite the talent.
So the provocative question for you is, what does it mean for you to truly love the game of whatever your ambition is?
If you can embrace the challenges, push your limits, stand firm when things get tough, stay true to that core mission you defined back in Move 1, The rewards aren't just some distant payoff.
Right. The fulfillment starts the moment you commit, the moment you start living that future truth and helping others find theirs too. It's not just about winning in business, it's about, well, winning in your whole life.